Hello and welcome back to Biweekly Building. Forgot the series name a bit, yeah. But here we are. I've got to speak very quickly. The time lapse is very fast. But here we are. We're building a little sort of village, technically probably a hamlet. I mean, it doesn't really class as that. It's 3 buildings, and a windmill. But yes, I wanted to do something sort of like this in the style of the village in Building a Slime Pirate, just to get back into the rhythm of how that style works, ahead of sort of hopefully getting a video out in that series by hopefully the end of the month. It's going to take a bit, but yeah, hopefully should be the end of the month, maybe the start of December. But yes, here we are, building in that style. So I also wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to build more diagonals, and they are an absolute pain. I hate diagonals. I also tried doing something fancy with this roof here, by sort of continuing the diagonal on the roof. It looked terrible. It looked garbage. So I just got rid of it and redid the ends. But yeah, I mean, it's 2 sort of smaller houses, thatched roofs, and everything. Got some light details, it's just some texturing and stuff. But other than that, these buildings are the most complicated bit is the diagonal. The walls, I can do diagonal walls all day, right? That's easy. But the roof is really just, it's where it becomes a pain, because we don't have diagonal roof bits. I mean, we don't even have roof pieces anyways. So yeah, and especially these 45-degree angles. I have 2 different styles of 45-degree angle roof in this build. One here that we're building and one on the windmill. And yeah, it's very difficult to get the same angle as the other roofs, despite the fact that I'm using the same pieces, I'm using the same blocks, right? But it's very difficult to get the same angle. This one looks steeper. It's much steeper than the other ones. And then the one on the windmill is shallower. It's like I can't win. But oh well. I used the debug stick to just make all of the stairs all of the sort of same shape, so there was no gaps, and that works pretty well. Did some light detailing, built a little well in the sort of between buildings. I think I started adding some details, and then I realized that I actually want to build a path before I add details, like wheelbarrows and crates and carts and stuff, because I need to do this stuff underneath them, and then do them on top of that, because otherwise it'll be more effort than it is worth. So I built a little sort of storage area, I suppose, between the 2 small houses, and then I got to work on the path. Same path design, same style as Biweekly Building, not Biweekly Building a Slime Pirate. I should really stop naming series with similar letters, because that's not confusing at all. Yeah, it's the same path style, so it's coarse dirt, and then it's got this sort of core of rooted dirt running through it, and then blending that with just normal dirt. It works pretty well. So there we go. There's the rooted dirt going in. This build is actually quite a lot of fun to do. It was something familiar, but also a bit of a challenge, and I like that. But it also wasn't, too much of a challenge to the point where I completely didn't know what I was doing. I think it went. I think it went pretty well. Now that I think about it, I actually forgot to do a stage of the path building, but oh well. You can see me start it there, where I added some moss around the edge to sort of add a bit of like moss and the grass encroaching on the edge, and I didn't continue that for the rest of the build because there's areas between the hedge and the path where there's grass, and it should be detailed, but it isn't because I completely forgot. But now I'm on to farm fields. So you can't have a farming village if they have nothing to farm. So I had planned 5 fields, and I had planned that they were all going to be crop fields, various crops, stuff like that. Like I'd have wheat in a few of them, and then some carrots and potatoes. But I sort of decided after doing the first one, given how long that took, and how far through the build I already was, that I was going to actually, in fact, do 2 crop fields, and the rest would be just livestock. So cows, sheep, pigs, stuff like that. That saved me so much time. It takes a while. It takes a lot longer than you think to replace all the grass with farmland and then put all the seeds down. That is a job for later. Now I'm doing the windmill. So I just made a little mistake. I used World Edit to give me a couple cylinders. I then blended between them like that, which I think actually worked pretty well. I think this is my best windmill so far. And I've built a lot of windmills on this channel. This one I think is by far the best. But I decided to make the top diagonal, which meant that I had to do the roof and the blades diagonal. And I've never done diagonal blades before. I've done diagonal roofs. And here you can see me trying to do the same roof design as the big house. I then attempted to do it with full blocks, the same angle. So then I did it with some slabs, and I think that actually worked quite well for the windmill. There we go. That's the main thing. That's the main bit of the windmill. I think am I doing? Yes, I'm texturing the roof. I kept on messing this up and couldn't quite get the area to encompass the entire roof, and it was missing out chunks when I was texturing, but I eventually got there. Textured the main building, and then we add the blades, and these were both harder and easier than I thought they would be. They were harder in sort of a different aspect than I had thought. It was harder to figure out where to put them than it was to figure out, the diagonal and stuff like that. It was more difficult to figure out where they should go. They didn't end up being perfect. It's more of a squished X rather than a perfect X, but it looks all right. You understand, presumably, that it's a windmill. I mean, I have just told you, but I feel like, you'd look at it and go, oh yeah, okay, cool, that's a windmill. But here we are doing the first field. I really, just doing fields is it's very tedious, and you can't just brute force it with world edit, because everything else surrounding it is grass, so I can't do / replace grass block with farmland, because it will replace everything with farmland. Everything will be farmland, and then I couldn't then go, okay, well, the farmland will, it'll dry out and just turn to dirt, so I can use that to make it go grass again. But then I'll lose all the other bits of farmland, and then my fields will be back to square one. So I just had to sort of go through it, and sort of deal with that fact. I was experimenting as well with using world edit to grow the wheat, because you can replace wheat, which will be the seeds, stage 0, I think, of the aging. And you can replace them with fully grown wheat, which is stage 7. And you can do that with world edit. And I was practicing with that, which is why the field is seemingly half done, half complete. I'm now working on the last wheat field. And you'll have seen me just quickly go through the closest 2 fields. And I basically just made the hedge 2 blocks tall on the inside of the field, so that any animals I put in there couldn't get out, which was, it's a bit of a pain, makes it look less natural, but oh well. It keeps the stuff that I want to be in there. So yes, and I just quickly did that. Popped some sheep and cows and pigs in there. They haven't rendered in for some reason. But yeah, there we go. Video is over. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in 2 weeks.